What's up, kids? Peter Von Panda here. Hey, I wanted to show you some gloves. If you've ever gone shooting, I wanted to give you my opinion on some gloves that you may not have thought about for the purposes of shooting. First of all, these mechanics gloves. I have shot with these. They're great. They're pretty form-fitting. They actually are pretty insulative and have some protection. This is very popular with shooters because you can get a nice grip on the glove, and it kind of hugs your fingers and doesn't add a lot of bulk. They offer a little protection, especially in sweaty hands, and they also protect you from elements. You can actually use these in some cold weather environments. Military use them in hot weather environments just to protect your hands and your knuckles as you're doing a lot of other things. But all around, shooting glove. This is pretty nice, and I enjoy using these, and I use a variety of different mechanics gloves. But one of the things that I've learned is that as you're at the range and as you're trying to, say, load rounds, it becomes really difficult, unless you've had a lot of magazines that you've already loaded, to grab, let me show you here, like ammo out of these boxes, without fingers covered. They're pretty easy to get, and you can manipulate your fingernails. But when you put gloves on, getting ammo out of boxes is very tough. And if you have to manipulate any part of the gun, small parts of the gun, that can be tough too. I'm not saying that they're impossible, but that's why a lot of people add like extenders to the slide releases and things like that. So there's a couple of gloves here that I've picked up and used because I found that they have certain advantages. And the first one here I'm going to show you are weightlifting gloves, and this might seem a little odd, but first of all, I like that this glove and this glove here have the finger cutout. So if you want to manipulate something, you'd be able to use your fingernails to pick up individual rounds and load them. They're fantastic. The weightlifting gloves tend to be all leather like this, so they don't breathe a lot, but they're meant to kind of insulate your hand, to provide some structure as they are under the weight of pretty serious equipment. And so you can see the padding here. There's actually more substantial padding in leather right here where, say, a bar would go across your hand. What that does is this makes this glove, and it also has a Velcro strap here, makes this glove a little thicker, and you can feel it as you're trying to grip that gun. I used this gun when I shot the double tap because it has such a massive kick and it's focusing all that energy in such a small area. I'd rather have the extra protection, but they do provide you nice, good cover all the way around. I mean, and if you're out and about and in the dark and moving among trees and knocking stuff, these would probably be great gloves to have, and they also keep your fingers free. But the downside is they're not really comfortable to manipulate and grab your hand. It's kind of you pretty much only want to bring your hand to this position, because otherwise that leather gets really tight, and it's pretty it takes a lot of effort to overcome that. The glove that I actually like the most, which I was surprised at, are these biking gloves. And now this is not for your motorized motorcycles. These are just gloves that you would wear when you're out doing road biking or mountain biking. And one of the reasons I like these is that they're synthetic. They keep your fingers free, so you have a lot of capability to use your fingers and your fingernails. Sometimes, like on the double tap, you have to use your fingernails to kind of eject those the rounds in the chamber. But the other thing is that they're designed for people who are using their hands a lot, obviously on bikes, changing gears, going for levers, grabbing water bottles, etc., etc. So they fit pretty tight. You can get them in different sizes. This one's a medium, and the cool thing about it is that this underside is this kind of porous material. It's thicker on the palm, which is nice, and it's really soft, so you can get a nice purchase on the gun. It doesn't inhibit my capability to make a fist or anything, and there's a little extra protection. I think if you're sweating, you've got some buffer there to absorb moisture so that you can keep a good handle on the gun. But then on the back, what I like is that it's even more ventilated than the front. And in fact, from a protection standpoint, there's probably not a lot. As you can see, daylight through that. But the cool thing is, you know, I wouldn't use these for, I don't know, going out in weather, but the hand breathes very nicely, and for guns, really, you're just kind of mimicking like some, you know, an extra grip texture that or stipling that you have on the grip. So I usually use them to get a little better grip, and especially when you're shooting for long periods of time, you know, you just tend to get sweat in there. But these are great. They breathe well. They're very flexible. They give you a little cushion and protection on your hand, and it doesn't inhibit me from loading extra rounds. So, you know, honestly, if you're a shooter and looking for a nice glove to use for shooting, I you know, this brand or any other brand of bicycle gloves might be the ticket. So I've enjoyed it. Now, my only concern is that, you know, if you're using a gun that gets very hot and you're wearing a glove that's made out of synthetics, you know, and you're holding a part of the gun that's getting really warm, I don't know what it'll do to it, but for my purposes, that doesn't really happen. So hopefully that helps you finding some handwear for your sporting events. Peter von Panda, out.